Did you put your solar up under the CSI program?
Oh, it's hypothetical solar.
Oh, it's a hypothetical. Okay, all right. Well, hypothetically, that worked. We had a Million Roofs program. Governor Schwarzenegger created it, and it's a very successful program. I mean, here in Los Angeles alone, there's about 60 megawatts of solar. 3 megawatts or smaller that's been actually done. It's on the roofs of our schools. At least 20 megawatts are sitting on school roofs right now, mainly parking lots, because that's easier. It's part of the big savings Superintendent Daisy was talking about. So I think the program actually got a little bit larger this year. Your colleague Skinner had that bill that created the new formula. So I think there's a lot of support for that program. That program did not have any kind of problems or scandals, or I think it's a pretty well-run, good program. So the question is, how do we continue a program like that? And you're right, there is the business model of the utilities do not really complement.
It's very centralized.
Yes, and I'll let Kevin explain.
Well, if you're talking about the IOU world and the POU world and their current business models, and whether the current business models will they adapt, if you will, to renewables, energy efficiency? Because, you know, ultimately, if you're an IOU, an investor-owned utility, you know, your fiduciary responsibility is to your shareholders. At the end of the day, you know, it is my hope that the IOUs, I don't speak for the IOUs, you know, in the state of California, but that their business models will adapt to what they see is the future for the state of California. If not, it's going to be, I think, a challenging period for everybody across the board, not just IOUs, but everybody across the board. Ratepayers, you know, IOUs, our environments, you know, so, you know, folks need to adapt and need to change.
Well, should local governments and state governments impose incentives or whatever in order to kind of move them along? I guess that's.
Yes, I would. I don't want to be very ambiguous. Excuse me for being a little ambiguous or vague and coy, because I don't speak on behalf of all my colleagues in the Senate as well as the Assembly. But I'll say that we'd love to sit down, have an open dialogue and discussion. We have to. We can't vilify, if you will, other folks if they're not moving quick enough with their portfolio, if their business model does not, you know, adapt to the current future or what the future may look like, if you will, if policymakers push towards a certain direction. Because it's not just IOUs who lose, our environment loses, California ratepayers lose across the board. So we're going to have that dialogue with IOUs and POUs, so hopefully that it's okay for folks to make money, you know, but we just need to, you know, look to the future and see what the future looks like.
So that was a great beyond Prop 39 question, but if you don't think energy efficiency is sexy, then what the senator is talking about is the regulatory reform that needs to happen, and that's certainly a what next that all of us can get involved in, because we got to make sure that we understand what the design features are that we want, and design so we can have a win-win. And I think that can happen, and it's the next phase beyond Prop 37. I think we have time for one more question, two if we do it fast, so please.
Okay, as the homes become more energy efficient, you know they're becoming more tighter, right? As the homes become, you know, tighter up so that they don't leak out, what are we doing about indoor air quality? So you realize that the house becomes more tight, the gases get trapped inside, and how can we get money through like tax credits or whatever for people that do install a healthier system because they're making their house tighter? And so
that is a very, very good question, and it's part of the accountability for the design of the system. A good energy efficient design should also have an air exchange, so we don't get the negative side of what you're talking about. So, and I would assume that in all of the school designs, that's what's going to happen. That we'll get those 40,000 jobs. Some of those will be people who can come in and do the quality testing and so forth. So, very good question.
Representing the Sierra Club, and we have a number of experts, Jim Metropolis and others, that I hope Kevin will be able to call upon for your hearings on this, and that we also have a relationship with, I'm sure Leslie knows Gary Russell, the executive director of the Wilshire Business District, who has been able to catalyze millions of dollars of energy efficiency in these huge commercial buildings along Wilshire with private capital, so that it may not be clear that we need this money to go into the capital of the businesses in terms because of this fast payback we know about. But I think that Gary has really found that the big block is audits. We have to get professional audits in the hands of these business owners so that they can really see the savings. Then they can go out and raise the private capital.
Okay, great. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our wonderful panel. I want to encourage everyone here. We've been talking about the amazing things that are going to happen in schools and public buildings, but I want to encourage everyone here to do energy efficiency in their own home. I want to encourage you to, if you want to figure out how to reduce your energy by 50%, 50%, do it 10% per year, and in 5 years you'll have your own 50% of your bill reduced. There's a plan on greenamerica.org. Just search for 50% energy efficiency and learn how to reduce your own. You can get some really easy 10% out there, so please do that. And I would like our panel to finally end with any ways to keep in touch with them about these issues.
You could always call my office, which is 916-651-4022. 916-651-4022. My office is on 1808 on Sunset Boulevard in Echo Park, right in the corner of Lemoyne in Echo Park by Masa Restaurant that's on the corner. For those from Echo Park, more than happy to visit, set up an appointment, more than happy. And just lastly, I just want to thank the really wonderful, multifaceted, multi-ethnic coalition of business and labor and environmentalists and Green Party advocates and Democrats and Republicans and independents, everyone coming together, but especially a warm thank you to my co-chairs, my two colleagues, Secretary of State George Shultz. Folks ask me, what is it about George Shultz and why did he co-chair this? Well, he also co-chaired Prop 23, and he's a Republican under then President Ronald Reagan. But his focus and his passion is our dependency on foreign fossil fuels and how that relates to us here in the country and in California. And that's why he's so passionate about energy efficiency. And lastly, my good friend and my colleague, Tom Steyer, because here's an individual who puts his money where his mouth is at. He walks the walk. He just doesn't talk the talk, but he walks the walk. He cares tremendously about Californians. He cares tremendously about those who don't have a job currently, and it was a wonderful match putting the idea and the money together and his passion for energy efficiency. It's unfortunate he couldn't be here today, but I also want to extend my deep personal gratitude and a warm recognition. I'm hoping we name a high school after Tom here in Los Angeles, and I want to do that, And thank you very much.
For those of you, you can find the Los Angeles Business Council on the at our website, www.labusinesscouncil.org, and I'd encourage you to do so. That's www.labusinesscouncil.org, all one word, LA Business Council. There's a lot of information on our site about energy efficiency and solar. We've done a lot of studies with the universities here, both USC and UCLA. They give you a lot of data about LA, a lot of data about what our energy potential is, what our solar potential is, case studies around energy efficiency. And we'd always look forward to your ideas about things that are important. So thank you.
Thanks, Mary. You can find out more about the Better World Group at betterworldgroup.com. And I also encourage you to learn about green schools and green affordable housing at globalgreen.org. and wanted to thank you all for your leadership, for being part of really what is the beginning of a new day in California and the country, thanks to Prop 39. I also want to give a quick shout out, while I have the mic, to the LA Conservation Corps. Any of you gardeners out there, check out our brand new Little Green Fingers program that we launched yesterday in Koreatown. 8 new gardens coming. We're pleased to be one of the Ford Community Grant finalists of the program. And I'm all about helping kids, and getting kids into healthy homes, healthy schools, and healthy gardens is part of the positive future that we need for California. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you, and once again, thanks to California voters for making this really, really crucial turning point for the state and for the country. Thank you.